Hello, it's Super Chocolate. Today we are going to talk about someone special in the entire world in and field of sport, and no one other than late legend Pele, former Brazilian professional football player. Let us start with a little introduction of his background. Born, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, October 23, 1940. Três Caracas, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Died, 29, December 2022, aged 82. São Paulo, Brazil. Occupations: footballer, humanitarian. Height: 1.78 meters, 5 feet 8 inches. Sources: Rosemary dos Reis Choibe, M.1966, Div 1982. Assyria Lemos Satius, M.1994, Div 2008. Marcia Aoki, M.2016. Children, 7, including Edinho. Parents: Dondinho, father. Association football career. Positions: forwarder, attacking midfielder. Youth career, 1953 to 1956 Bauru. Senior career. Years team apps, GLS. 1956 to 1974 Santos 636, 618. 1975 to 1977 New York Cosmos 64, 37. Total 700, 655. International career, 1957 to 1971 Brazil 92, 77. Honors: club domestic league appearances and goals. Minister of Sports, in office. January 1, 1995 to April 30, 1998. President: Fernando Henrique Cardoso. Preceded by, office established. Succeeded by, Rafael Greca, 199. Now let's talk about his life and entire career. Hello, it's Super Chocolate. Today we are going to talk about someone special in the entire world in and field of sport, and no one other than late legend Pele, former Brazilian professional football player. Let us start with a little introduction of his background. Born, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, October 23, 1940. Três Caracas, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Died, 29, December 2022, aged 82. São Paulo, Brazil. Occupations: footballer, humanitarian. Height: 1.78 meters, 5 feet 8 inches. Sources: Rosemary dos Reis Choibe, M.1966, Div 1982. Assyria Lemos Satius, M.1994, Div 2008. Marcia Aoki, M.2016. Children, 7, including Edinho. Parents: Dondinho, father. Association football career. Positions: forwarder, attacking midfielder. Youth career, 1953 to 1956 Bauru. Senior career. Years team apps, GLS. 1956 to 1974 Santos 636, 618. 1975 to 1977 New York Cosmos 64, 37. Total 700, 655. International career, 1957 to 1971 Brazil 92, 77. Honors: club domestic league appearances and goals. Minister of Sports, in office. January 1, 1995 to April 30, 1998. President: Fernando Henrique Cardoso. Preceded by, office established. Succeeded by, Rafael Greca, 199. Now let's talk about his life and entire career. Edson Arantes do Nascimento, Pele, was a Brazilian professional footballer who played as a forwarder. Regarded as one of the greatest players of all time and labeled the greatest by FIFA, he was among the most successful and popular sports figures of the 20th century. In 1999, He was named Athlete of the Century by the International Olympic Committee and was included in the Time list of the 100 most important people of the 20th century. In 2000, Pele was voted World Player of the Century by the International Federation of Football History and Statistics, IFS, and was one of the 2 joint winners of the FIFA Player of the Century. His 1,279 goals games, which includes friendlies, is recognized as a Guinness World Record. Pele began playing for Santos at age 15 and the Brazil national team at 16. During his international career, he won 3 FIFA World Cups, 1958, 1962 and 1970, the only player to do so. He was nicknamed O Rei 9 the King, following the 1958 tournament. Pele was the joint top goal scorer for Brazil, with 77 goals in 92 games. At the club level, he was Santos' all-time top goal scorer with 643 goals in 659 games. In a golden era for Santos, he led the club to the 1962 and 1963 Copa Libertadores, and to the 1962 and 1963 Intercontinental Cup. Credited with connecting the phrase "the beautiful game" with football, Pele's electrifying play and penchant for spectacular goals made him a star around the world, and his teams toured internationally to take full advantage of his popularity. During his playing days, Pele was a worldwide ambassador for football and made many acting and commercial ventures. In 2010, he was named the honorary president of the New York Cosmos. Averaging almost a goal per game through his career, Pele was adept at striking the ball with either foot in addition to anticipating his opponent's movements on the field. Whilst predominantly a striker, he could drop deep and take on a playmaking role, providing assists with his vision and passing ability, and he would also use his dribbling skills to go past opponents. In Brazil, he was hailed as a national hero for his accomplishments in football and for his outspoken support of policies that improve the social conditions of the poor. His emergence at the 1958 World Cup, where he became the first black global sporting star, was a source of inspiration. Throughout his career and in his retirement, Pele received numerous individual and team awards for his performance in the field, his record-breaking achievements, and legacy in the sport. Pele was born Edson Arantes do Nascimento on October 23, 1940, in Três Corações, Minas Gerais, Brazil, the son of Fluminense footballer Dondinho, born João Ramos do Nascimento, and Celeste Arantes. He was the elder of 2 siblings, and was named after the American inventor Thomas Edison. His parents decided to remove the I and call him Edson, but there was a mistake on the birth certificate, leading many documents to show his name as Edison as he was called. He was originally nicknamed Pound Dico II by his family. He received the nickname Pele during his school days, when it is claimed that he was given it because of his favorable, local Vaso da Gama goalkeeper bile, which he misspoke, but the more he complained the more it stuck. In his biography, Pele stated he had no idea what the name means, nor did his old friends. Apart from the assertion that the name derived from that of two bile and that it is Hebrew for miracle, the word has no known meaning in Portuguese. Pele grew up in poverty in Bauru in the state of São Paulo. He earned extra money by working in tea shops as a servant. Taught to play by his, he could not afford a proper football and usually played with either a sock stuffed with newspaper and tied with string or a grapefruit. He played for several amateur teams in his youth, including Sete de Setembro, Canto do Rio, Paulinho, and Ameriquinha. Pele led Bauru Athletic Club Juniors 9 coached by Waldemar de Brito, to 2 São Paulo State Youth Championships. In his mid-teens, he played for an indoor football team called Radium. Indoor football had just become popular in Bauru when Pele began playing it. He was part of the first futsal, indoor football competition in the region. Pele and his team won the first championship and several others. According to Pele, futsal, indoor football, presented difficult challenges. He said it was a lot quicker than football on the grass and that players were required to think faster because everyone is close to each other in the pitch. Pele credited futsal for helping him think better on the spot. In addition, futsal allowed him to play with adults when he was about 14 years old. In one of the tournaments he participated in, he was initially considered too young to play, but eventually went on to end up top scorer with 14 or 15 goals. That gave him a lot of confidence too. He knew then not to be afraid of whatever might come. Club career. Santos. In 19556, De Brito took Pele to Santos, an industrial and port city located near São Paulo, to try out for professional club. Santos FC, telling the directors at Santos that the 15-year-old would be the greatest football player in the world. Pele impressed Santos coach Lula during his trial at the Estadio Vila Belmiro, and he signed a professional contract with the club in June 1956. Pele was highly promoted in the local media as a future superstar. He made his senior team debut on September 7, 1956 at the age of 15 against Corinthians de Santo André and had an impressive performance in a 7-1 victory, scoring the first goal in his prolific career during the match. When the 1957 season started, Pele was given South starting place in the first team and, at the age of 16, became the top scorer in the league. 10 months after signing professionally, the teenager was called up to the Brazil national team. After the 1958 and the 1962 World Cup, wealthy European clubs, such as Real Madrid, Juventus, and Manchester United, tried to sign him but in vain. In 1958, Inter Milan even managed to get him a regular contract, but Angelo Moratti was forced to tear the contract up at the request of Santos chairman following a revolt by Santos Brazilian fans. Valencia FC also arranged an agreement that would have brought Pele to the club after 1958. World Cup, however, after his performance at the tournament, Santos declined to let the player leave. In 1961, the government of Brazil under President Jânio Quadros declared Pele an official national treasure to prevent him from being transferred out of the country. Pele won his first major title with Santos in 1958 as the team won the Campeonato Paulista. He would finish the tournament as the top scorer, with 58 goals, a record that still stands today. A year later, he would help the team earn their first victory in the Torneo Rio São Paulo with a 3-0 over Vasco da Gama. However, Santos was unable to retain the Paulista title. In 1960, Pele scored 33 goals to help his team regain the Campeonato Paulista. The club went on to win the Taça Brazil that same year, beating Bahia in the finals. Pele finished as the top scorer of the tournament with 9 goals. The victory allowed Santos to participate in the Copa Libertadores, the most prestigious club tournament in the Western Hemisphere. Santos' most successful Copa Libertadores season started in 1962. The team was seeded in Group 1 alongside Cerro Porteño and Deportivo Municipal Bolivia, winning every match of their group but won a 1-1 away tie versus Cerro. Santos defeated Universidad Católica in the semi-finals and met defending champions Peñarol in the finals. Pele scored twice in the playoff match to secure the first title for a Brazilian club. Pele finished as the second top scorer of the competition with 4 goals. That same year, and the Santos would successfully defend the Campeonato Paulista with 37 goals from Pele, and the Taça Brazil, Pele scoring 4 goals in the final series against Botafogo. Santos would also win the 1962 Intercontinental Cup against Benfica. Wearing his number 10 shirt, Pele produced one of his best performances of his career, scoring a hat-trick in Lisbon as Santos won 5-2. As the defending champions, Santos qualified automatically to the semi-final stage of the 1963 Copa Libertadores. The Ballet Blanco, the nickname given equals N to Santos for Pele, managed to retain the title after victories over Botafogo and Boca Juniors. Pele helped Santos overcome a Botafogo team that featured Brazilian greats such as Garrincha and Jairzinho with a last-minute goal in the first leg of the semi-finals, which made it 1-1. In the second leg, Pele scored hat-trick in the Estadio do Maracana as Santos won 0-4 the second leg. Santos started the final series by winning 3-2 in the first leg and defeating Boca Juniors 1-2 in La Bombonera. It was a rare feat in official competitions, with another goal from Pele. Santos became the first and to date the only Brazilian team to lift the Copa Libertadores in Argentine soil. Pele finished the tournament with 5 goals. Santos lost the Campeonato Paulista after finishing in third place, but went on to win the Rio São Paulo tournament after 0-3 win over Flamengo in the final, with Pele scoring 1 goal. Pele would also help Santos retain the Intercontinental Cup and the Taça Brasil against AC Milan and Bahia respectively. In the 1964 Copa Libertadores, Santos was beaten in both legs of the semi-finals by Independent. The club won the Campeonato Paulista, with Pele netting 34 goals. Santos also shared the Rio São Paulo title with Botafogo and won the Taça Brasil for the 4th consecutive year. In the 1965 Copa Libertadores, Santos reached the semi-finals and met Penaroli in a rematch of the 1962 final. After 2 matches, a playoff was needed to break the tie. Unlike 1962, Penarol came out on top and eliminated Santos 2-1. Pele would, however, finish as the top scorer of tournament with 8 goals. This proved to be the start of a decline as Santos failed to retain the Torneo Rio São Paulo. In 1966, Pele and Santos also failed to retain the Taça Brasil as Pele's goals were not enough to prevent a 9-4 defeat by Cruzeiro led by Tostão in the final series. The club bid, however, win the Campeonato Paulista in 1967-1968. On November 19, 1969, Pele scored his 1,000th goal in all competitions, in what was a highly anticipated moment in Brazil. The goal, dubbed Zero Millesimo, the 1,000th, occurred in a match against Vasco da Gama, when Pele scored from penalty kick at the Maracana Stadium. Pele stated that his most goal was scored at the Estadio Rua Javari on a Campeonato Paulista match against São Paulo rival club Atlético Juventus on August 2, 1959. As there is no video footage of this match, Pele asked that a computer animation be made of this specific goal. In March 1969, Pele scored the Gol Placa goal worthy of plaque against Flamingos at the Maracana. Pele received the ball on the edge of his own penalty area and ran the length of the field, eluding opposition players with feints, before sticking the ball beyond the goalkeeper. A plaque was commissioned with a dedication to the most beautiful goal in the history of the Maracana. In 1969, the two factions involved in the Nigerian Civil War agreed to 48-hour ceasefire so they could watch Pele play an exhibition game in Lagos. Santos ended up playing to a 2-2 draw with Lagos side Stationary FC, and Pele scored his team's goals. The Civil War went on for 1 more year after this game. During his time at Santos, Pele played alongside many gifted players including Zito, Pepe and Coutinho. The latter partnered him in numerous 1-2 plays, attacks, and goals. Pele's 643 goals for Santos were the most goals scored for a single club until it was surpassed by Lionel Messi of Barcelona in December 2020. New York Cosmos. After the 1974 seasons, his 19th with Santos, Pele retired from Brazilian club football, although he continued to occasionally play for Santos in official competitive matches. A year later, he came out of semi-retirement to sign with the New York Cosmos of the North American Soccer League (NASL) for the 1975 season. At a chaotic press conference at New York's 12 Club, the Cosmos unveiled Pele. John O'Reilly, the club's media spokesperson, stated too, "We had superstars in the United States, but nothing at the level of Pele. Everyone wanted to touch him, shake his hand, get a photo with him." Though well past his prime at this point, Pele was credited with significantly increasing public awareness and interest of the sport in the U.S. During his first public appearance in Boston, He was injured by a crowd of fans who had surrounded him and was evacuated on a stretcher. Pele made his debut for the Cosmos on June 15, 1975 against Dallas Tornado at Downing Stadium, scoring 1 goal in a 2-2 draw. Pele opened the door for many other stars to play in North America. Giorgio Chinaglia followed him to the next few years. Other players came to the league, including Johan Cruyff, Eusebio, Bobby Moore, George Best and Gordon Banks. In 1975, on week before the Lebanese Civil War, Pele played a friendly game for the Lebanese club Nejma against a team of Lebanese Premier League stars, scoring 2 goals which were not included in his official tally. On the day of the game, 40,000 spectators were at the stadium from early morning to watch the march. Pele led the Cosmos to the 1977 Soccer Bowl, in his third and final season with the club. In June 1977, the Cosmos attracted an NASL record 62,394 fans to Giant Stadium for the 3-0 victory past the Tampa Bay Rowdies, with a 37-year-old Pele scoring a hat-trick. In the first leg of the quarterfinals, they attracted a U.S. record crowd of 77,891 for what turned into an 8-3 rout of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers at Giant Stadium. In the second leg of the semifinals against the Rochester Lancers, the Cosmos won 4-1. Pele finished his official win over the Seattle Sounders at the Civic Stadium in Portland, Oregon. On 1-0 October 1977, Pele closed out his career in an exhibition match between the Cosmos and Santos. The match was played in front of a sold-out crowd at Giant Stadium and was televised in the U.S. on ABC's Wide World of Sports as well as throughout the world. Pele's father and wife both attended the match, as well as Muhammad Ali and Bobby Moore. Delivering a message to the audience before the start of the game: love is more important than what we can take in life. Pele played the first half with the Cosmos, the second with Santos. The game ended with the Cosmos winning 2-1, with Pele scoring with a 30-yard free kick for the Cosmos in what was the final goal of his career. During the second half, it started to rain, prompting a Brazilian newspaper to come out with the headline the following day, "Even the sky was crying." International career. 1958 World Cup. Pele arrived in Sweden sidelined by a knee injury, but on his return from the treatment room, his colleagues stood together and instead upon his selection. His first match was against the USSR in the third match of the first round of the 1958 FIFA World Cup, where he gave the assist to Vava's second goal. He was at the time the youngest player ever to participate in the World Cup. Against France in the semi-final, Brazil was leading 2-1 at halftime, and the Pele scored a hat-trick, becoming the youngest player in World Cup history to do so. On June 29, 1958, Pele became the youngest player to play in World Cup final match at 17 years and 249 days. He scored 2 goals in that final as Brazil beat Sweden 5-2 in Stockholm, the capital. Pele hit the post and the Vava scored 2 goals to give Brazil the lead. Pele's first goal, where he flicked the ball over a defender before volleying into the corner of the net, was selected as one of the best goals in the history of the World Cup. Following Pele's second goal, Swedish player Sigvard Parling would later comment when Pele scored the 5th goal in that final, "I have to be honest and say I felt like applauding when the match ended." Pele passed out on the field and was revived by Garrincha. He then recovered and was compelled by the victory to weep as he was being congratulated by his teammates. He finished the tournament with 6 goals in 4 matches played, tied for second place, behind record-breaker Just Fontaine, and was named Best Younger Player of the tournament. His impact was arguably greater off the field, with Barney Ronzi writing, "With nothing but talent to guide him, the boy from Minas Gerais became the first black global sporting superstar, and a source of genuine uplift and inspiration." It was in the 1958 World Cup that Pele began wearing a jersey with the number 10. The event was the result of disorganization, The leaders of Brazilian Federation did not allocate the shirt numbers of the players, and it was up to FIFA to choose the number 10 shirt for Pele, who was a substitute on the occasion. The press proclaimed Pele the greatest revelation of the 1958 World Cup, and he was also retroactively given the silver ball as the second-best player of the tournament, behind Didi. 1959 South American Championship. Pele also played in the South American Championship. In the 1959 competition, he was named best player of the tournament and was the top scorer with 8 goals, as Brazil came to second despite being unbeaten in the tournament. He scored in 5 of Brazil's 6 games, including 2 goals against Chile and a hat-trick against Paraguay.